Can you feel that stillness? It's coming in different, isn't it? That's probably you. It's probably you bringing more of your wholeness, more of the safety of you. And it's interesting because, yeah, as I do sit here today with the container of us, there does feel like this really sweet energy of completion. We'll have a closing ceremony still. And I have no thing. I'm in the no thing today with you. Not an agenda, nothing to do. Curious, of course, about your experiences and dream spaces. And so let's open some space for us. Kilo cuckoo. And they say instead of opening space, like you coming into you and then expanding. Not you going anywhere. Letting that sacred of you blossom open. To bring more of you here now. Let's go ahead and set our Jed. I heard. And I want you to find this way today that is sweet and gentle. That is, the codes have been installed. There's nothing for you to do. There's not a massive amount of effort that needs to be exerted. It's instead, you've been set right now. And now you can sit inside of that. And it will be so fascinating to watch what Dream School does for each of us individually and collectively. We can't possibly see that right now. But I would be curious how the Akasa has been feeling for you guys. How moving into Crown has been. So, like, today is about us. Please share. And if you need to leave early, share first. Haha. And if truly in our space of silence and stillness there's nothing to share, well, it'll be an interesting ride too, won't it? We can all just gaze amongst each other. Thanks, Sarah.
Hi.
Or not.
I really don't have anything monumental, um, except for the last week and a half has been very quiet, very restful, and it's been a clearing of all of the old timelines so that the reset can happen. And I found myself a few times like desiring attention from spaces and places and people that I used to go to have that need met. And instead, I'm just sitting in me. Um, it's uncomfortable still at times, um, but also beautiful because I know that, as you said, like this new container, um, it's a blank canvas for really anything I design to come to life. So it's almost I have to stay in the childlike joy of it. Like, oh my gosh, what am I going to make today? What am I going to make?
And thanks for saying it that way too. That sitting in my own stillness, because I think certainly in this social season, I have wondered, like, did I just behave like an asshole? There was nothing really exchanged there or given there. I kind of walked away like total, like, I'm good with me, but like we just had a dinner and didn't even talk. Huh. We'll be having a phone call tomorrow to see if anything needs to be cleaned up. But as you said it, Sarah, like that discomfort, at least socially in that way, of engaging places, people, things that we used to, but we're different. The distance of that growth, sometimes noticeable, sometimes not. But right now, as you say, like, thanks for saying it the way you did. I'm like, oh wait, maybe I wasn't an asshole that night. I had a great fucking time. Just didn't enjoy being with you so much, so I enjoyed myself. That being said, I'm going to a comedy show tonight by myself. I'm like, we won't repeat mistakes. I'll just do it by myself. Thanks so much.
I was going to ask, like for me, what's coming online especially is I'm my own partner. I'm my own lover. I'm my own best friend. I am my own sister, my own mother, my own daughter. And embracing all of those facets of in the past, the hats that I've worn, and instead claiming them as mine. And I'm taking myself on a date to see Thor tonight.
Fuck yeah, you are.
Yeah, and last night I put myself to bed at 9:30, and it was amazing. And then I watched a weird show in the middle of the night because I woke up and I wanted to. Like, but I'm checking in on a more frequent basis and asking this girl, like, what do you want, babe? What do you want to do? Where do you want to go? What do you want to eat? Who do you want to hang out with or not? Do you want to smoke today? Yeah, it's good.
It's amazing. I took myself on a date to see Thor last night. I'm going to see Duncan Trussell tonight because, yeah, I can fucking go and enjoy all of that. 9:45, and I'm like, I'll take a nap. So Sarah, in that way of like, what do I need? I'll probably need a nap before a 9:45 show. Yeah, cool. And the words that I wrote down of yours are, I am my own. That's enough. And resourcing. Oh, thank you. That's kind of what I've been playing with lately. We're resourcing from self. We have built the containers of self that are full. And so I'm not like pulling into this and pulling into this and I don't need this and I don't, I think even in that way, watching my behaviors this year, I don't need as much from the outside. I probably need less from the outside. And for Max, Ashleen, and Marilyn, who are coming on just a few minutes after we've begun. Hi, loves. We don't have a whole lot today, except we're here to reflect back to each other. We're here to process. I realized part of my my process, I used to journal a lot. Now I'm not. I'm fucking talking all the time. I'm like, oh, wow, that's a lot. A lot for me, who usually doesn't talk that much. So I think I kind of open up today in that way as well. The Akasasa, I'm going to keep coming back to that because that was not in the mysteries. That has come through for us. And I will be exceedingly curious where it brings us and how it activates, because as it's activating through us, it's activating through the Akashic fields. And Ashleen, you would have been so proud of me. I was walking and listening to something last night and like the akasa, sa, akasa, sa. Like it came in and the music was so fucking good. I'm like, okay, do I need to mix this? Like, how do I sample something and put a sound? So like the creation of it continues to get bigger and play, and And Ashley and I will forever give you credit and want you to be proud of me, apparently, every time a new fucking rhythm comes in. Thanks.
That's good for me because it's we're awakening together on that. So it's also good validation and affirmation. I had a thought about the Ganusa song. Ganusa, Baganusa, that one. Same thing. I wanted to sample it and like remove the words, but keep the melody. And my brother's a musician, like a producer. So I'm like, okay, how do we need to do something together?
Mimi's been saying the same thing. She's like, we need all of us. So the desire to like mix and move this into new spaces. I want to say in that, like whatever creativity is coming up, that's fucking cool. That hasn't been done before. Us being able to, and I want to say it's not even putting it into the world. It's us creating it. It's us engaging with these secors in different ways and the rhythms in different ways. That is enough because it's something new coming online through us. It doesn't need to be an output, I think is just what I want to acknowledge. As much as my brain is like, fuck yeah, like where would I share that? I don't know, but I have fun doing it.
Could you imagine each of us recording a snippet and like quilting together our voices?
That's it. That's it. And we've tried, I think in one initiation, we tried to like have the voices all together and doing a cow at the same time. It was awful. That was terrible. Let's not.
But do you remember the one where we were all chanting together and then we all stopped at the same time? Do you remember that one? And it was magic.
It's pretty sweet.
So I've been reading the Magdalene manuscript as it's been pinging around our little space here. I know Sarah and I have been talking about it, and Alyssa and I were talking about it too. So, but I'm in the book. The beginning is the channeled message. The second third of it is a comparative analysis of Egyptian alchemy with Tibetan Buddhism, Tantric yoga, and forgetting the third one. But it's interesting because those three that he compares to, I feel like in my experience, I've gotten the most, there's like real life pings from those. Like, I feel like a lot of people are really familiar with yoga, especially now as it's become very westernized, and even Buddhism. And let me see what the third one is. It's going to bother me if I don't figure it out. Oh, Taoism. And so I feel like those three things have been around the zeitgeist, where Egyptian alchemy is very much not. Like, you know, it's just kind of been shrouded in mummies and curses. But the stuff that we're working on is something so much deeper than that. And like when you read the comparisons in this book, you really do see like movements of sexual energies and movements of the snakes and all of these different things. And so I think that that's kind of one of the amazing things that we get to do here as people who get to live through the Egyptian alchemy, is bring the Egyptian alchemy more into the forefront and start talking about it again, in the ways that we've had the Buddhists to talk about their thing and the yogis to talk about their thing and the Taoists to do theirs. So it's been a very unique experience coming around to that.
I haven't read that book in a long time, and I see it like pinging for you guys, and you know, trusting it'll rise up for me whenever it's right. The Egyptian alchemy to me, well, like clearly it's my only course of study, right? I don't know any of the others. I don't know the Sanskrit or the yogic. Clearly not a Taoist, and so it feels like home. And so to engage in it and discover it, which is really what we're doing. Nobody's teaching us. We're discovering it, and this is the value of like integration of like, what the fuck happened when we did an akasasa? Like, it's the living mysteries, which is of course like what gets me super juicy and excited of like we're doing it together. And through us, it comes into the world, right? Like through us, it has life again, and yeah.
So I do want to hold like some sort of like book group about this if anybody wants to just like ping a little bit. I don't really know exactly what that'll look like. It'll probably be like towards the end of the summer. So if you're interested, send me a message on Mighty Networks or Instagram or something, and I'll keep you in the loop. But really just give everybody a chance to read at least through the channeled messages, and then we can come together and talk and ping. And if people get the chance, like Sarah, to actually live through and do the physical practices, I just think that would be such an awesome thing to come together and talk about. So let me know if you want to be in on that.
We could create a little Mighty Networks group for that too, for anybody who wanted it. Mighty Networks is always up and running. It's just that I'm always not running it. So yeah, we could happily, easily set that up.
Just an aside, I've been reading, I read that book actually before we came into Container, and like it all kind of came in for me like in preparation. But there's another series I'm reading it's fiction, but it's almost like a really beautiful myth weaving of Mary Magdalene and Jesus. But she is a like Celtic woman who was born on an island with like 8 mothers, and she's a witch. And it's just like, it's an incredible fiction story with like some things that feel really true and some things that are just really funny and fun. And they're called, I think, the Maeve Chronicles. And it's been so fun to read. Like just, it's like mysteries and Isis and Osiris, but like funny and love and everything. And Priestess, it's a really good, fun fiction series that like tugs at the heart. Yeah.
Thanks for that, Alyssa, because yeah, I think all of it has keys, right? Whatever we're drawn to, it has a key for us, even as ridiculous as my little teen fantasy fiction that I read recently. Like, it has keys still. Thank you, Maeve Chronicles. Don't dismiss it and just kind of like stay in that place of curiosity, because you're being drawn to it for something. There's something that's trying to come online, and being able to like, Avalon and Egypt are going to be from the same place. It's all the same. And yeah, whatever your life, your past lives, whatever your soul history is, like, you'll just pick up a little bit of this and a little bit of this and a little bit of this and a little bit of this. But I think we're at a really blessed time right now that we get to see the same instead of the differences. The world's focused on the differences. We get to find the thread where it's all true.
Well, I also have to share the Syrian activation that we did. Holy crap. That was really, really big for me. I took it, I don't remember what day I took it, but I did it the evening I finished the channeled message portion of the book. So when I got to Series B, Mary Magdalene came in really heavy with the entire field was just love and compassion. And it brought tears to my eyes, and it was just like the most amazing thing. I didn't get any of the like the physical sensual stuff, which was totally fine. But right before we left, I was just hit with this overwhelming feeling of gratitude for every second, every moment, every decision I had ever made that got me to literally that place on Series B. And yeah, that was just really, really powerful. So thank you for
bringing up there, huh?
Well, and Yeshua brought the snakes down for me.
Well, and as you're talking, like, let me just play with this, right? Isis as Mother Mary, Magdalene as Nephthys, Jehudi as Jesus. Same Trinity, same energies.
Mm-hmm. Huh. Oh, totally. And Magdalene she is a priestess of the lineage of Isis. Like, that's her whole thing. That's how Yeshua was able to cross through death and become the incredible figure that he is now to us, is that she charged his light body with her pussy. So it all came from Isis. It all came from Isis and Osiris. The whole resurrection story, it predates Jesus.
Yeah. you're gonna love the fiction like series so much if like you're getting excited about this, because it's so, the way they weave it together is so good. It's so good.
Can I throw in another Jesus book from someone in our community? Jesus Christ Zombie Killer, now available for you from our own Camille. So I just kind of fucking love that she has written a first of the 3 set, Jesus Christ Zombie Killer. You can find it on Amazon. The second one is the story of Mary, and she's channeling it in now and having obviously some challenges bringing in Mary through a zombie killer perspective. So give her a little bit of love, that sweet Camille of ours. Yeah. Going back to that Syrian gateway, what I can say I experienced, not through our activation of it, because I've sat with it a little bit. I've gone back and listened, because, channeling, receiving, sometimes not the same energy. But that Syrian gateway for me, and especially with that timing of being in Crown, I saw myself in a completely different way. So that same place of like gratitude and forgiveness and compassion, like they showed me in a lens and a view outside of here of my own experience and my own smallness and my own like weirdness and awkwardness. They showed me, and I was like, oh, fuck. That has felt changing. I guess that's all I can say right now of it. I saw me outside of me. I saw the way that they see me. Peter Gabriel's In Your Eyes is a song that I have to go to every once in a while, because it is the divine singing to us. How do they see us? I know how I see myself. Different lens. And a helpful squeegee clean as needed during these times right now too, because our industry, healers, the awakened ones, getting real fucking weird out there too, isn't it? Not that I'm paying too much attention, but I can just feel like something is changing, and there's a unsettled quality to it. Huh.
We're bifurcating again. So using discernment, especially, and how we move forward, open-handed and yet smart.
Oh, it's a discernment upgrade, isn't it?
It's been Queen of Swords, King of Swords, like crazy, and I've been pulling them together. So like that iron sharpening iron, like the precision and the sharpness, and it will come with quickness. Like we'll just know, like, this is for me, this is not for me.
Well, and the ability through third eye, like to see it even more clearly and quickly, and in ways that are uncomfortable to my human. Like I can say that too, where I watch it, I'm like, oh shit, And they keep like the way they're showing it to me, like keep unhooking from that false web, keep unhooking from that consensus reality. Everything that they're showing us is so that we can move over here. But the disconnecting, I know, maybe even rude at times, right? It rubs up against the human. And it's what we're going to be asked to do more and more, is that discernment, the openness, the love of it, like it's so much of the neath, right? It's outside of reality. We are outside of reality. And how we choose to participate here in this one is a choice, and how we participate in it will be watched by others, because we'll be paving new paths. Wendy, the picture you put up, I haven't had a chance to respond yet, but like, and your no beak comment, like, come the fuck on. Come the fuck on. Thank God he doesn't have a beak. Do we know gender, or is that being shared? Okay, great. Can you unmute? I'd love to hear you. Thanks.
I thought I did hit unmute. Yeah, way too early to know gender at the moment.
Right.
So, but yeah, it was nice to finally see baby moving and wiggling about. See my other half. I think my favorite bit of it was my other half, because he was just completely in awe, because of course it's all been happening inside of me. He's had no real experience of it, so him seeing it, he was just kind of like, he was completely taken aback. And then he couldn't believe the guy was kind of identifying so many different parts, and then realized how small the baby actually still is. He was like, well, you can see all of that, but it's like 6.5 centimeters. So yeah, it was pretty exciting.
And due when?
Due 17th of January.
January 17th. Okay.
But it's like the kind of living proof that we are genuinely creating things, because, you know, way back in those first sessions, that's what I was calling in, what I was trying to create. And then right in Ganusa week happened. That's when it would have been conceived. So
Wow.
living proof.
Well, and I want to just expand on that, right? Wendy's living proof, maybe a little more proofing than the rest of ours, but just as like, what are we capable of, and what can we call through, and what the veracity of what we're participating in may not be as obvious for us as it is for Wendy and her beloved right now. But I'm going to challenge that, because I can, like, as I'm saying it, I'm like, oh, fuck, but I had that, that, and that. And I maybe just haven't noticed that, that, and that. We can also celebrate Max leaving his job, right? Like, here's another fucking proof. Something is, like, done and shifting. And will we be radically and wildly supported? Yeah. I already had a job opportunity come in for Max, so I reached out to him about that. But how cool was that? I was like, oh yeah, ding ding. We need somebody who, and I'm like, I've got the guy. So recognize as well that things will be offered to you. And when you know that discernment of like, not mine, thanks, you'll know maybe where it needs or gets to go and where that opportunity is right. They say your yeses are more valuable now. Aren't they, though?
And the discernment is coming up a lot. I'm finding there's so many things now that I'm just saying no to. And you do, sometimes you feel like you're being really rude, but you're just like, no, I don't need that. But even next week, and I think being pregnant is kind of helping me set those boundaries as well, because I'm like, nope, I'm looking after baby now. But next week would be my last week at work. I've got a new job in September, and that will happen during Dream School. So, you know, I'm leaving my current toxic school and going to a much nicer one. But next week they're sort of planning mini leaving dues at breaks and things. One in my own department I've been left out of completely. I'm like, fine. There's kind of a few of it. There's this whole toxic thing between rural studies and science, and the rural studies and the science just don't, whatever. But yeah, so, and then they're kind of arranging another one just for the rural studies one next week. And I'm kind of thinking, no, I don't even need to be there. And there's meant to be really hot weather next week. And I thought, you know what, I'm not going to school. Like, I do not need to be there in the last week of term. Like, it's not going to affect anyone. It's not going to affect the kids, because they're just watching videos and, you know, doing crap practicals and things. Like, it's filler lessons, so it's not going to affect them. I don't need to go to this thing. I'm going to say friend in brackets now, because that friendship has completely broken down during Dream School. And it was me going for this other job that kind of was the catalyst for that, but gave me this opportunity to break that friendship. She has suddenly started being friendly again, and then messaged me, because I basically said to her, just so you know, I'm not planning on coming into school on Monday and Tuesday. It's going to be way too hot. And she was like, oh, I really hope you're in on the Tuesday, because we're going to have that little leaving do. It'd be nice to all say goodbye to each other. And I was like, I don't care. Like, I'm off. I don't need to be there. Like, you might need that. I don't need it. I certainly don't need it with you. And yeah, that's like you're all saying, we are enough. Just ourselves is enough. We don't need to do all that other conforming and whatever else, just no. No, thank you.
Congratulations. And new school, like, yeah, won't you have everything new coming in, Wendy? And the resources to be able to navigate it all. But as you were talking, like that sense of loss with friends, let's just go there, right? We know that we've had some bigger loss in this container, bigger things that are shifting. How? I would love to hear from you guys. How are we all navigating that loss or sense of loss differently?
I feel like I've been so cocooned in my own bubble that every time I step outside, I'm like, ugh, this is not it. And then I'm just like happy to go back into my own energy. I went out to lunch again with these friends. I think I brought them up, same friends that who have been my friends for a very long time, but we just don't vibe the same anymore. And every time I go out to lunch or we go out to eat or whatever, it's like all about them. Nobody really asks about me. And there's no opportunity for me to even bring myself up. And I'm like, well, what am I doing here? I would much rather spend this $30 and eat by myself, honestly. Like, I don't know. I am very much like a hermit, though. I enjoy being alone. And I am not a person who other people drain me, usually, rather than like power me up. So that has not been hard to like leave those friends behind because it just doesn't feel good anymore. You know what I mean?
No, and that's what I wanted to hear.
Yeah.
'Cause, yeah, it doesn't feel good there anymore. So not engaging. And I think some of the stickiness for me is like, I can't even explain to people, like, we are not in the same reality. And they're like, but there's only one reality. And I'm like, no. Dina, you're here? Jesus fuck, I had no idea that you were in here. Dina? Well, I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled because, yeah, Dina and I have been talking a lot through this. But I like that idea, Ashleen, of like cocooned in our own energy. It's exactly, I'd rather hang out by myself. It's fucking fine. And I think rude, right? The perception of rude. Is anybody putting that on me? I don't fucking know. I don't feel it. Or if I did, I don't know that I would care. And I think that's part of the place where I'm unhooking from like even social graces in some way that I'm navigating. And it's why I asked you guys, I'm like, how do we do this better? We just keep coming back to each other and message each other and we're like, we're fucking rad. You're so cool.
I will say I'm having a little bit of a harder time navigating it through like my partnership because Adam, like while he is like he's not in the matrix, but he is not in our part of the void, I guess. You know, it was funny because he came to me he heard about the sacred clown on Joe Rogan, I think, a couple months ago, and he was like, "Do you know about the sacred clown?" And I was like, "Yeah, I know a little bit. Like, what do you know about the sacred clown?" He was like, "Well, they were saying that is like the person who pokes holes in just what everybody else thinks and pushes back and questions, is what you are saying actually what you think? And is it actually reality?" And I'm like, oh my God, you are the sacred clown. And this is why we have such a hard time because I feel so strong in my faith that I know that even though I don't know where this stuff is coming from, it's like real and true for me, but he always has to poke a hole in it. I'm like, stop poking holes in my shit. Leave my shit alone, or like get on the same level with me so we can actually talk about it. And it doesn't feel like you're just like trying to find the weak spots. You know what I mean? So I'm having a harder
Ong Jehudi around that too, because he's still in a mental plane of things. And that,
Gemini.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Ong motherfucking Jehudi. I had a 2-hour astrology reading the other day with Lynette on that full moon, and it was, oh, thanks. Cute. As they showed me myself in a new way, she showed me myself in a new way too. And she called me the provocateur. And I was like, what? Huh? And she's like, yeah, most people won't like you. And I was like, oh, huh. Me who spent my life wanting to be liked. She's like, no, we're done with that game now. Huh. So this, the poking holes in other people's reality. Oh yeah, I fucking do that. And the reality that I participate in here with you guys, this feels real to me, and the rest of it feels wrong. But then all of the people who are in, yeah, there's a distance.
But I think you also, when you poke holes, it's in order to show people a way out.
Yeah.
Whereas like what I feel from like Adam's energy and like even a Joe Rogan, he's like trying to find the weak spots and trying to show you where
You
you're
need to
not
teach
enough.
Adam how to poke those holes in the shit we need to get rid of.
So like it's
Ooh, that's so
triggering.
triggering.
Well, and I've been playing with the flames a lot lately because they've come online, so some of us know the flames here. And in those flames, like, I'm not here to destroy anything. I'm here to create the new. So everything that I'm aligned to is like getting us over there. But holes in reality, they're not fucking holes. They're goddamn like, yeah, they're huge. They're not pinholes.
Portals.
Portals. Yeah, I was going to use that, but then, yeah, the idea of portals of like we don't necessarily know where it opens to recently has been coming up a little bit. The languaging that we'll keep finding around it, whether it matters or not, but I think that Jehudi reality, and this is so eighth session actually, is what we did in Crown. Most of that is about Ma'at and Jehudi, the way that Nadia taught it. Leaving this realm of Jehudi, leaving this realm of Thoth. This is the reality that he's created through the Akashic, and it's one of mental, it's one of understanding. We have now stepped into ourselves through the Jed in order to create a realm of understanding. And then once we understand, then we begin to create something else because this one is corroded. And it's what we were asked to do. And how we do it, I think, will be what I think. Can I keep fucking saying that? Jesus. Jehudi. I am fascinated to see where each of us brings this into creation. What was that, Michael? Shakati.
Yeah, I was just Shakateeing the energy, the mental.
We lived in a mental field. One where things made sense. And even if you think about it, what did you have to take at school? Like, remember that statistics class and if you went to college? Like, where it was all logic and it was like the orders of logic and how it was set up and like if this, then that.
Like, oh, do you never want to make a decision again? Here's a
Right.
class to confuse you.
There's a class to confuse you that most people at my school, like most people would fail. If you got more than a C, like you were celebrated in that one. I'm like, what the fuck? But that world of the mental, of understanding, of like knowing how to navigate it no longer works. And
Statistics are kind of based on like being like everyone else, no? I mean, isn't that what, this is what's been coming in. I guess I'm going to talk now. Is that okay? Were you done? I'm sorry. So I pulled right at the beginning of the call, I pulled a rune and I pulled Berkano. So it's new beginnings, birth. So then everything that we've been talking about, I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Thanks. Thanks for confirming that runes are a thing. I can use them. Yeah, and just new beginnings. I don't know. So I see lots of 9s and 0s. So it's like I feel like I've just been like sitting on that like 0 point. And then everything we're talking about. So before the activation, the 7th, before the crown activation and that whole class, everything like it creepily lined up. Like all my inner work the day before, it was just like it was like almost too much. So especially with everything and grief and like yeah, like it's been crazy. So yeah, like Ashleen, I don't know about you, but like I had already found the door to Sirius. So like when that came in, I was just like, oh, done. Because one of the things that I had done is reset my codes just to make sure I purged anything that wasn't serving me. And when I did that, I went all
I'm
the
going to
way.
ask you how to purge our codes. I don't mean to interrupt you, but I think
Oh, I can actually, I can tell you how I did it.
would that be super helpful so that we all just have a because we all kind of do it our own way, and I think we also borrow from other traditions.
Yeah. So I kind of thought about it a little bit beforehand. I don't always do that. So I went in, I opened my records, and I asked to be shown where my reset button was for my codes. And I was like, okay, I'll just ask and see what happens. So what happened is like, as I kind of thought about it, a pattern appeared on the ground underneath my feet. But first I was taken down. I kept going down. I kept dropping in. It was almost like, when we go into our inner temples, it was like I went into my inner temple and then I got pulled through every life that I've ever lived on this planet, through all of those temples. That's what it felt like. And so I was like suddenly in this like the sub basement, and I was standing on that fucking dirt that came in during the activation. Like when you were like, oh, and then there's this black dirt, I was like, I'm already there. And then the door to Sirius was there, and they were basically like, this is where you stepped through. So here we are, we've reset your codes. I was like, wait, what? So then when the Sirian activation came in, like, that was next level. But yeah, so what happened was, as I kind of dropped through, that pattern underneath my feet grew into something. I could never draw it. I don't know what it ended up looking like or anything. But so the reset button was me. Like there was no button. I thought it was gonna like literally they were gonna be like, that was easy. But no. Of course it wasn't like that. Yeah, so then what's been happening is I've been getting these downloads come in now, like you don't have a contract with New York City anymore. This what came in this week. They were like, you don't have to play by that rule book. And I didn't realize that when I moved to New York, I put myself in a box. So all of a sudden I'm like, I can just fucking go get a job at the salon, tap into the collective. Dina knows. I can be safely tapped into the collective and getting so much. I used to, when I was in Chicago, that's like, but I can be doing my human design and everything, and that would so support that in a way that like corporate, would never do. So it's interesting. So like suddenly it's like, oh, fuck, I can see like the mist just got a little less opaque.
Pathways are showing themselves to us.
Yeah. And it was all because those contracts were broken, though. In a way.
It's urgent. What I just want to put another language on this so that we can, ping widely and freely. The purging of your own codes, like we might also look at it like dissolving timelines. Same languaging, same energy here. I think timelines are a very Jehudi thing. They're a very old reality thing, a timeline. Like, I'm not fucking working in timelines anymore. We are outside of time now, and things will look different. But in that purging of your own codes, in that changing of timelines, in that being able to, through the Akasa, dissolve everything. It dissolves. Being able to reset to this place of sovereignty and Sahu.
Oh, Andy, you know what? Remember the last time we went into the halls of Amenti as a group? And I told you, like, they took me to the sub basement and showed me, like, that's what it felt like. So it was very similar to that. It was almost like, oh, no, not yet.
We're there now.
Okay, well, door to Sirius. Okay, this must be where we came in. And guys, I know I don't want to share too much or whatever, but like, I went to Sirius. They were Smurfs. That's what I saw. Like, not that there's more to it or whatever, but I just like, and I've been playing like my gene key that I've been playing with, that's the most important one for me or whatever, I guess, is the Sacred Trickster. So then when you said the Sacred Clown, I was like, oh man. And I was literally just reading it yesterday. And so part of me was like, of course they're fucking Smurfs, right? Like, because I'm that's what I'm tapping into. So of course they're gonna show me Smurfs. But I was devastated when I had to come back. Yeah, it was really like the grief. Of course, the grief is right there for me right now. So, and also Coyote, Trickster, you know, there's a lot going on there too. So, I don't know, for those of you, do we talk about it here? My Maltese was taken by a coyote. So, yeah, 5 years old. And then I worked with one of our fellow community members, Lexi, and we had a session, and I learned that there was some negative intentions being thrown at me. So this is when we were in Third Eye. So on top of all my grief, there's been this sort of like very Jehudi kind of like, let me show you, there's this other layer of things. And so there's been a real reckoning over here too. As things have been falling down, it's like, and Wendy, I was thinking this when you were talking, like, how isn't it funny now that you have this baby to worry about, you can prioritize yourself in a different way because it's not just Wendy anymore, right? And it's like, what the fuck? Wendy was enough too. But because I now have other friends that being a mom empowered them to do that, even after, you know, giving birth, because it's like you get this shift of perspective. I had a friend tell me, I think I was mothering all these other people and I didn't know. I said, you definitely were. She goes, but I can't do that anymore. I was like, yeah, you need to end those relationships or change the rules, the boundaries. And I think that's kind of what's happening with our Jeds, right? It's like all of a sudden we're like, oh. Without it, you said it too. The other thing with the Sacred Trickster, it's like releasing all agendas is the way to tap into the city of it. Because it's like, if I have no agenda, then I'm not going to sell you something you don't want for my own ego. But I can still poke holes in reality in a way that allows you to see beauty and truth. So it's like using the same energy, but in like a really different way. So yeah, lots of revelations, but fucking hard earned. Like, didn't need to learn these things this way. But yeah, I'm like, it's been a very Dina week for me, I guess. I'm thinking about dogs and hair. And it's been amazing.
I want to talk about this initiation because a few of you have gone through initiations by means of psychic attack. That's a huge fucking wake up for you. You didn't know your own power until all of a sudden somebody's like smearing you.
So I was trying to explain it to my husband, and he was like, why would she do this? And I said, jealousy. And he goes, well, why would she be jealous? And I said, because she's sick.
Yeah. That's it. And we can have that compassion. No, she's got Bruja frequency. I mean, between you and I, she's got some Bruja frequencies running in there that Oh
no, last night her name came up and my friend had to go vomit. Like immediately she was like, yeah, she's like, I had to vomit a little bit. She's very psychic, this friend, but so I'm not the only one to, it's been like independently verified. Not that I needed to fucking justify that. Sorry, guys.
But if you get the psychic attacks, as a few of you have, I want you to recognize that in that Jehudi, like, you are not seeing the power that you fucking hold. And somebody from the outside is just like, I want that. And you're like, oh, I didn't know it was that good in here. Hold the fuck up. It's mine.
Yeah, but when it fucking takes down one of my family instead.
Yeah, I don't, that's... Excuse me, I don't mean to be belittling that piece.
No, I know, but like that was the level for me is I was like, oh fuck, that can happen. Like,
well, and thank you. What part of you needed it to be proven to be real in that degree? Oh fuck, this is all real. And it can look like on our little sweet Wendy above you birth, and it can look like for you and Max death. And it's all the same. And I
Yeah,
think
but being awake through grief is so weird because I'm
Oh.
like, I start thinking crazy things, and then I'm like, your grief isn't more important than other people's grief. Because I start justifying, well, my grief is my, and I'm like, no, it's just fucking grief. It's all good. Doesn't matter. Then you start thinking revenge thoughts, of course, especially when you call on a bruja to like blame for things. And it's like, doesn't do any good. She's still fucking dead. Sorry. Thanks.
no, I don't need to apologize.
No, but so it's
Thanks.
been interesting because people are like, you're doing so good with the grief. And I'm like, yeah.
When I don't think about pulling her hair out piece by piece. Yeah, we're
And I don't even connect to that, Andy.
good.
That's been so interesting to me.
You can just be in compassion.
No, it's that I've released all my ties with her.
Great.
So if I go to that place of ripping her hair out, I'm tied to her again.
Create karma.
And that's been the weird part about all this is like just standing there and being like, not letting the cause stick to you.
That's gorgeous.
Is that the stillness? Is that what it offers you sometimes?
Well, think about this. The ka wraps around our Jed. You're not letting anything wrap.
Mm.
Staying
Okay,
in-
and this is really funny. So I have an aunt who passed away that I never dealt with the grief to. So for whatever reason, I pulled a picture of her out and I put it on my altar with my family, right? This picture, it falls down, it blows over here. Like she is so unsettled. And I'm like, is this why this is happening? And then like, there's also this sort of like, because she was an alcoholic, she had all these demons, and like, so and I found out she committed suicide as like by accident, like all this stuff, right?
Love you.
Bye, Marilyn. Love you. So it's been interesting too that like spirit's like, oh, well, while we're dealing with this, let's
Well, because the ka is the same.
yeah, exactly. That's what just talking about the ka made me remember. I'm like, oh, it's this family ka. It's been like wrapping. That's what it does. It feels like wrapping. And I'm just like,
And too tight on the spindle.
Go back on the altar.
Let's give it some breath. Let's move it out. Let's unravel it, which is what we're doing. We're unraveling that from that reality that they all told us was real. And his family is like, this is real, and this is who we are, and this is how we behave, and this is what your body does. And we all have a predispensity, like whatever the stories are of like genetic shit.
And it's because like my mom, I'm like fucking constant, like I'm so like with my mom right now, taking care of her. So it's her sister. So all related. And it's all the karma, it's all the ka that my mom hasn't dealt with. It's all those addiction issues and stuff. This is the person who like conditioned her. Why don't I just give myself some rest, Andy? Why don't I call in like, but
There's times for rest and there's times for presence.
But it's funny because I've been beating myself. No, that's not true. I haven't been beating myself up. I keep saying I'm giving myself cancer season to feel things. So even though I feel like I'm not doing much, I've been feeling things, which.
I want to share in this unraveling of false realities, the session that I had with Lynette. Thank you, Dina, for setting me up with that. Lynette's perspective, super fucking cool.
Sorry, Lynette what? Like if we want
Lynette, Oracle of Your Soul on
Thank you.
Insta. Duncan, I think is her last name. But like she's wise and she has a different take on it and a different like she's one of us in that way. Her understanding of astrology, but like essentially what she was saying is she was doing my chart is like all of this energy and moon, and she's like the moon is a false matrix. Huh. The moon is in that way the realm of Jehudi. The moon is not a true cosmic force. It is a false thing that we've got to get through to get to the cosmos. So me, who identifies as a moon child, and she's like, you're not moon. She's like, the truth of Cancer, the moon is the portal to Neptune. And she's like, you're Neptune. I reached out to Marilyn. I'm like, I don't, I, So I love that this is what Lynette is teaching, is that Uranus and Pluto, is that right, Dina? I'm sorry, I know you're doing hair. Thank you, sweet love, for being patient with us over there. Uranus and Pluto is what
Also,
matter?
that blonde looks sick. Nice job.
You look what we're doing. Hang on, I just have to show you this.
I know.
What? Speaking of moon phases, we're doing half black and half blonde.
Fuck yeah.
And so I toned this with purple and blue for the black side.
Woo.
Yeah.
Akasa.
Isn't that fun?
Is it Neptune and Uranus that she talks about? And sorry to interrupt, or Neptune and Pluto that matter?
Neptune and Pluto.
Okay.
But Uranus also, but Pluto is more generational. Neptune is the god, like truly the god planet.
I'll be working on remembering.
I've been calling in Neptune recently too, because I have it conjunct with my sun natally. So I'm been realizing that I am a big Neptune influence.
So I'm going to just real quick too. Neptune on my natal moon has been on top of my moon recently. And then it went past it just a few degrees. And now it's retro fucking grade. It's going to hit my moon again and go past it. And then it's going to go direct and hit my natal moon again. Y'all, it's been so intense. And then yes, Sarah. And then that starts, I have 8 planets, including some of the asteroids with esoteric astrology, where Neptune is going to be moving through 8 planets, like an asteroid. So this is Neptune for the rest of my delicious life. Juicy. Oh my God, help me, please. Okay. Sorry, Andy.
No, I asked. No, thank you. So Lynette's going to be teaching a class where she's kind of like breaking down the matrix of the moon and the falseness of the moon and how this moon holds us into a false reality. So I was just writing it down with like the same idea of Jehudi. Jehudi set up this structure of time as a way of understanding space. That structure of time is done so we get direct experiences of space. So the moon has to move out. So we have direct experience of cosmic forces. The false realities, the narratives. And as Nadia was teaching it, right, we're leaving the realm of Jehudi and moving into the realm of Ma'at. Ma'at is truth. Ma'at is a truth outside of this reality. So Michael, as you say, like, yeah, I don't want to rip out her every hair. That was totally my words for it. Not anything that came from you, but like, yeah, I'm in Ma'at now. Like, I don't give a fuck. It's going to be balanced somewhere. I may just not.
If I could bring back my aunt from the dead, I'd rip her hair out. That's what was shown to me. They were like, oh, okay, you can move past this one.
How about this one? Sticky.
Go.
Sticky. Yep.
Sticky hair. Yeah.
And with this girlfriend that I'm having some sticky, like I can feel the stickiness of it. I can feel the story of it. Like we can't even literally we cannot have a phone call without the phone interrupting. It's so sticky between us. That's a very cool teaching, right? As uncomfortable it is, it's real fucking cool teaching, because there are forces that are bigger and thicker and realer, and I just want to run. I don't want to fucking deal with that. Close the friendship. End. Done. My lesson, as I keep hearing, I'm like, you can work this out with a friend or you can work it out with a partner. You're going to have to work it out somewhere. Fuck. And I can be very proud because I can watch the maturity when these things come up, right? Like now I'm like, oh yeah, cool. I got it. I'm not going to lose my shit over this and take it so super personal. And
I was just talking last night about gossip. I remember when I read the 4 Agreements the first time, I was like, I don't know, 25. And I was like, I will never be able to be impeccable with my word. Like, because gossip was such a
currency.
It's the lowest karma. Yes, it's the easiest way to buy yourself into a friendship at work. I will say that, at work. Or at a party, anything.
Anywhere.
And I was just thinking like how far I've come with that. Because right, isn't it like is my word more important than what people think of me?
And all of it is like their projections, their thought, their thinking, their false reality placed upon you. It's not you.
Right.
It's not them. I don't know who the fuck they are. All that I have is a perception that could be.
And also, you can't gossip unless you have an agenda. It's like a requirement, because you have to take a viewpoint and then you have to poke holes at it. Someone else, right? You're poking holes at people when you're gossiping. And it's just like, I don't know, it was just interesting that it came up. And it's like, what does this look like from this Akasa view?
I felt like a moose whenever I did that. But
I need an emoji like this now.
The gossip, I think, is fascinating, because I went to the nail salon the other day, and it's one that I've gone to for like a decade. Back in the day, I wrote a great Yelp review. He thanked me every time I was there. He knew me by name. He knew my daughter's name, would ask about her for like 10 fucking years, right? So I went in last week because I'm loyal. Haven't been in like 3 years, and I walk in. He's not there. Everything has been upgraded. I'm like, oh, it's completely different in here. And then all of a sudden, the women start talking in Vietnamese to each other. And I'm like, oh yeah, he would have never let that happen. He didn't allow that level of gossip go on in there. So then all of a sudden there's this thread where in order to be friends with the boss and keep your job, you got to engage in the gossip. And I just kind of watched all of this. And then at the end, of course, you know, Vietnamese dragon fucking woman tries to fuck with my money and is like, good. Woo! Not getting involved in that web again. But it was fascinating because I'm like, even people who wouldn't recognize energy would recognize the difference between like one and another. So I'm going to update my Yelp review with that, because like it was discernible. You don't think you recognize energy, but you notice as soon as these women start talking. And then at one point, they were telling McKenna that she needed to have her eyebrows done, right? And then one of them like zips at the other and is like, shh. I'm like, what the fuck? Not clean, not good. This is not where I want to be. This is not where I want to spend. Gossip has a frequency. It's currency. And it's the lowest common denominator of it, because it's shit talking. And even talking about it like makes my belly hurt. Gross. Gross.
It's cheap. Like, makes you cheap. Like, lowers your value.
And I'll recognize whenever I begin gossiping, like I will literally like have to stop the message or I can't get it out. I'm like, oop, whoop, stop. And thank you. It's not gossip per se, but anything that like participates in that, I can feel it in my body right away and have to cancel, delete, block it out, unravel it. Because it's perpetuating stories and not participating in truth. I'm asked to participate in truth. So gossip feels gross.
I like that we're talking about like being impeccable with your word, because that's something that I live by. Like my word is truth. And when other people don't do that, my energy is like, I can't like listen to what you're saying because it doesn't sound right in my body. And I feel like with the setting of the jet and the activation of all of the Shankas, like I have a new body almost. And I've already had an experience where I can only have people in my life who I want to say worship me, because I worship my friends and my family. Like I love them to that extent. And I had an experience like this was probably the roughest, like Crown was the roughest for me. I've got a horrible migraine, not today, but I got a really bad migraine. And then I had an experience where I realized that I was allowing someone who did not truly see my body to touch my body. And I went into shock and I couldn't eat for 2 days after that, and like threw up my breakfast. And I was like, this is dramatic, but it's great information, but also so dramatic. But like, I hear you, body. Like, we're really more discerning now. Like, everything is like, it really has to be that, like, holy shit, I see your light. You are like a goddess, like, as in the way that like you are all a goddess, right? But there are people who don't see that in other people right yet. There's just too much distortion in front of it, maybe. But that came through so loud for me.
Yeah, it's funny because I keep wanting to ask you about relationships. So, yeah, obviously something is shifting over there for you in that regard. Because
Yeah. Like there's not too much in relationships in my life right now. I feel like I'm still like my friendships are impeccable. They're beautiful, they're gorgeous. The people that I have in my life are so incredible. Like so incredible. But on the front of like romance, that's where I've allowed people to have access to this that do not see it as gold. They just see it as like they're like, "Oh, that's that's a whatever." And I'm like, "Well, this is not a whatever." Like I work on this. Like I spend time here. Like this is good stuff.
this is a sacred fucking portal to the divine, and you had better
Yeah.
honor and recognize what you're engaging with, or else, like, stay on the stoop.
That's 100% it. And I had that message screamed loud and clear from my body to me. And it was hard and sad and also yeah, beautiful because then I was able to sit with my body and like apologize and hear like what she had to say to me about it. And it was the discernment is so clear. Like it has to feel like you are being worshipped. It has to. Like that is it. That's the only thing.
Yeah, it's no longer a hope; it's a requirement.
Like it is a
Done got
it's not
upgraded.
like, oh, I hope you touch me good. Like no, like you have to touch my skin like it is a river of gold. Like that is it. Yeah.
Holy nectar.
Mm-hmm.
Congratulations on that upgrade, Alyssa. I'm sure it was not a fun one.
Now I was pissed all week. I was throwing tantrums. I made my mom come over and talk to me for like 4 hours. She got me a beautiful mug that says mermaid on it. And she's been here for me. And I have a 14-year-old sister who's just like gives the best hugs. And she's a Scorpio. So she turns to me. She's like still learning life. She goes, just don't care. Caring's boring. I was like, that's the most Scorpio thing I've ever heard.
Awesome. Yep.
But yeah. It's
As if Scorpios aren't feeling it deeper than everyone else.
No, it's all in here. And she's just like, I'm like, Alex, I can feel you. She's like, caring's boring. I'm prioritizing relaxing.
That's awesome. You were saying that the third eye was hard and headaches, and then Wendy was nodding as well. So I didn't know if some of you guys were. Thank you. Third eye for me is kind of like, I'm home. Would you talk to me about some of the
She
challenges?
said crown, not third eye.
Crown.
Oh, so sorry. Okay.
No, that's okay. Crown, I had a migraine. I woke up one day and I get the like migraines with aura usually, so I can feel them coming, flashing lights, arm goes numb. I'm like, what the where? I skipped that entirely and woke up with the migraine. And it was like the whole entire day. It felt like I told my mom it felt like a yarmulke of pain because it was just like pain all the way around and nausea. I haven't had one of those in a couple of years. And I was like, it hurts a lot, but I feel like there's something that needed to go here. And then right after that, I had the experience with my body and it was like, okay, this is a new body. Like it does not accept anything else.
Well, and almost like being scalped is what I'm hearing a little bit.
Oh, wow.
Right? Like this had to be opened in order for you to move into.
Yeah.
And
Oh, no, it was these. I mean, I have so many planets in my 8th house that everything happens through like extreme death. It's like death, beautiful rebirth, death. So it is,
Scorpio again, huh?
Do have a Scorpio moon and Pluto.
Well, 8th house is Scorpio. No?
And oh yeah, yep. And it's a Capricorn stellium there. So nothing is like
You didn't choose easy, huh?
everything's like, I'm like, very fun. Thank you. Can we all like dance now? Is it time yet? Yeah.
And a reminder that every hardship that we encounter, it's medicine.
Yeah.
It teaches us so we can teach others.
But I like to tantrum in the middle sometimes. I'm like, it's not the same as the other times. And then like when I'm out on the other side, I'm like, oh, there's a little, yeah, I get that now.
No, I'm pretty good at wallowing, Alyssa. Like I can stay there for a little bit, right? Like I'll let myself have a window of wallow. Just don't get stuck or else I'm in trouble.
Yeah. I have a 6-month-old nephew and he just always pulls me back.
That's helpful. Max, we haven't heard much from you yet. Anything to share? Jump in with? Are you driving shirtless?
Yeah, I I am shirtless all the time.
Oh, cool. Okay.
See,
Welcome, new body.
that's just another one of those. Yeah, that's a rule that we don't have to participate in. Uh, yeah, I welcome everybody to be shirtless. Oh, actually, to just expand on that, I had just come back from my activation, and Shelby's trying to. We're going to a convention next week, and talked to me about a dress code and business casual, and I'm just looking at her, going like, "Oh my God, what are these words? Like, give me just 1 second." To go back to the previous topic, that like scalping right around there, and then after the recording, was it Sarah that had said that to wear a hat to protect yourself if you're going outside? Because thank God for the hats. And if it's real bad, I just throw one on at home. And then Shelby asked me like, "Oh, do you have a headache? Do you want like ibuprofen or electrolytes?" I was like, "Oh, thank you, but that's not what this is. Like, thank you for your caring, but this just needs time." Anything else? I have so much more, but I really just kind of came to listen.
I want to thank you for all of the hackaos that you're doing in nature. Because I read your
me
post
too.
and I was like,
Thank you.
wow, way to like feed them through the fields. That's remarkable.
Yep. Nope. And I am getting it back from them. I didn't think I was the guy that was out talking to insects and shit, but yeah, now it's just on the regular. They'll come and hang out, and we're just, back and forth. And oh, this is a safe place for you. Da, da, da. That's been nice. Definitely, anytime I get near a large body of water, I will yell as loud as I possibly can. Whatever a cow comes to me, I really just want to see if I can make bodies of water vibrate.
Thanks for sharing.
I'm happy to. Oh no, I definitely have a Shakati.
Mm-hmm.
So I was doing that a lot. That is wonderful. The words I heard you say was to get it all out, and maybe I'll get there, but I'm going with like the old 90s computer of defragging. So the good hard drive stuff that I'm going to need to hold on to or readdress later, I'm just going to throw this down there, and then just taking all that bullshit stuff and just, toss this out, rearrange it. Yep. Now that RAM just works better and faster.
That's it.
Oh my God, it's so good. And then, so I'm doing that too. And then you say to do the family healing.
Do I say that? Fuck.
I heard the words.
Okay.
After one of the times of doing this, I won't go into it. My father calls and asks me to take him on his first mushroom trip. So that's happening.
Wow. And I didn't put it in text, but like the client I'm setting you up, the introduction that I'm doing is to help them cultivate mushrooms.
Oh, good, because that's what my response was going to be back. It's just like, I'm not sure I'd go back to growing.
Yeah, no, I didn't put it in the
anymore.
text, but I'm happy to say it here in a recorded forum. It's mushrooms.
That's really what I'm doing, and then I'm really good at it.
I know you are, and that's what I told them. And I'm like, he's a little bit geeky, and he might be a little intense. And they're like Paul Stamets, of course. Like, that's what we love, and that's what we need. So, people to pay you to show them how to grow. Yep. Anybody else? Anybody asking how to grow? You send them to Max, please.
Well, hey.
You can do whatever you want with that.
And also, this exchange of currency, I'm kind of done with.
Maybe.
Oh.
And at the same time,
yeah, but it's like whatever commodity they can provide to me. Like, I have this knowledge and something that I'm good with. What can you do for me?
You can play any fucking way.
Capitalism is a failed thing. I'm not.
there's also value. And what's the value that goes on this when they've been looking for somebody and haven't even been able to figure, like, there's value. And value in this society is still done through gold.
For how much longer, my dear?
And don't block how that gold wants to come to you, because that also allows your life to be. Yeah, I thanks. I've had to watch for the places where, like, I'm blocking where the gifts wants to flow through me. Noted. Sarah sent me a little extra something, and I was like, what the fuck? My first reaction was, what the fuck? Instead of like, oh my God! I can notice that I'm doing that. Thank you, Sarah. Because the universe recognizes us as fucking gold. Recognizes our divinity and our preciousness and our value and our worth in ways that we're like, oh, but no. Universe is trying to give us more.
We've been learning to receive. Like, part of this and having the Jed set is so that we can fully become a conduit and receive and allow that to flow.
There you go. Because what we create is of the new. The resources for me to be able to create that, big fucking deal. Thank you, Dina, to know our worth. We're learning to know our worth. Let it flow through me. I'll create really beautiful fucking things with it, and containers and spaces and vacation homes for friends to come. Like, fucking flow it through so that we can do and live as the beauty and love that we know the world to be.
And whenever something unexpected like that happens, I have like massive celebrations so that I send out messages and thanks. Like, even this morning, I got at the farm I go to, you can buy like a carton of eggs and then you can get an extra one that's donated, but they were confused. So they just gave me 2 and they were like, we'll still donate. We just have extra. And I was just like, thank you so much. Like, I love eggs. Like, you're the best.
Extra!
Like, okay, here's the eggs. Like, thank you.
In all of the ways. I love that.
Yeah.
Learning to receive and being a better conduit, which is why we clear and defragment this hard drive, right? The universe has big things they want to move through you. One other thing with that conduit energy, because I'm still recognizing, like, my feet I'm still looking for music for the Akasa activation, FYI. And I was sitting in the living room the other day with McKenna, and I'm like, does this one make your feet sweat? And she's like, what? I literally can feel like this is open and my feet begin trembling differently. There's a response in being this clear channel that more divine is working through, and more divine is working through me. And I'm handing other pieces to the netters. Thank you, Sarah. You might feet get hot. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm recognizing, like, I'm a tuning fork. And can I be a tuning fork of being a living blessing? Each time I go into the world, people feel better around me. Great. That's not an agenda. That seems to be the chemistry of how I show up. That's rad. Can I value that chemistry a little bit more instead of just being like, thank you. That's me. It's socially awkward right there. Face. Jesus, fuck. So we have to learn how to receive, because they'll be bringing bigger and bigger things through us. That if we don't value the vessel of ourselves, upgrades.
And it happens physiologically. Is that the right word? Like, mirror neurons. If we can hold, it's like we hold the vibration, we allow the vibration to change, but you can also hold a space that people's neurons will start matching yours. It's like holding a calm. And you just notice that other people around you, it's almost like a domino effect.
Our energy bubble actually stretches 4 miles outside of us, just naturally. And then as we gain the ability to access that conduit, like it's almost like we're power stations, and then we keep expanding and lighting up bigger and bigger spaces.
And it's not taking from us, because the old way, what I did a few years ago, you may have as well, is like we gave from ourselves. We gave from ourselves. We depleted ourselves. And now there's other resources that are running through us so that nobody's taking from me anymore. That also comes with boundaries. So it's the boundaries, but it's also recognizing the capacity of that. I love the way you said co-regulate. Thank you, Ashleen, for that.
And giving people the space to synapse with us, because as activated light bodies, right, we're electricity. So we ping, like our bubbles will come up to one another and there's a synapse. And we have to allow others to be fully in their light too. Otherwise, we burn up and they burn up.
And regardless of where you are in the world, sorry, 1 second, Alyssa, you are doing and you are giving this. So if Michael's being called back into the salon, cool. Yeah, he'll still just be as fucking magical and powerful and like activating. Don't judge what the job looks like or where you're placed, because you are this and you are emitting this to whoever needs it, and you're being placed where you're needed. Which is why Max is fucking driving all the time. Look how much coverage we're getting. Thanks, Max. The codes are moving through us. We are changing the world with each breath. Not with an agenda, right? I'm not leaving the world like, oh, isn't the world going to be blessed by me today? Fuck. We don't have that. But there's energies that are moving through us.
No, but that, it's interesting you said that, because that is kind of the issue with the light workers or whatever, right? That's why it's like, I don't know if I want to be an energy healer right now.
And you don't have to be. So can we do it instead? Like totally fucking income?
I was like, doing hair, you're doing...
Fuck yeah.
I'm like all up people's crowns, you know? Now that I like am aware of that in a different way. Dina knows, look at her.
Yeah, thank you. I would always, I would check with every hairdresser before I worked with them, like respect the crown was always my energetic match of like, nobody gets up here and gets to do this thing. If you got dirty, that's precious terrain up there, y'all. And there will be, thanks, this is coming up right now too, Dina, thanks, I might be pinging off of you. There will be people who want to fucking steal your goddamn codes. There will be people who feel something in you or have nefarious intent who are like, well, I want that, but I don't want to go through the process of learning and earning it. You should fucking know. And in these sexual exchanges too, like, people could steal your shit. Whether they know it or not, whether they've got something working through, that's not you being paranoid. Fuck yeah, there are people who want to steal your goddamn codes because they're precious and you have honored them by turning them on. And they asked me to come back to this, you know, tagline that we've had through all of Dream School, creating heaven on earth. How do we do that? Well, we become heaven. Divine works through us. We feel peaceful. We feel happy. We feel joy. We feel light. We feel unattached. And other people will co-regulate with us and receive that without me needing to like hang up a fucking sign saying I'm a healer and I can fix anything, because broken people and victims really want to go there.
And I can't fix anyone. So it's a lie. Sorry.
Oh, this is exactly it, right? Like, as we're breaking through the paradigm of like, where the my prayer has been, where the fuck do you guys want me? Where am I the most effective? And you know what Lynette said? You're hiding in the mysteries. It's not the right place. I'm like, fuck, don't I know it? So where's this bitch going? I'm going back into corporate. Cool. Cool. Been sitting on that since March. They dropped that in March. Huh. What the fuck does that look like? I bring what I do to corporate. Huh. We gonna change some visionaries? We gonna light some shit up? Fuck yeah, we are. And then, thank you, this is also like my private grief right now. Like, but I love like this. Where the fuck does this go? So I don't know all of the answers on that yet. But in that same way, Michael, like, yeah, they've been telling me to go to corporate since March. And I've been cleaning and figuring out what the fuck that looks like. And I talked to a corporate shaman, is what I will call him. I had a exploratory call with a corporate shaman, a beautiful man. And I asked him, I'm like, I recognize what they're asking of me. I can see that I'm at the threshold. I don't know what the point of entry is. I don't know, like, how I pitch me to a fucking Google, right? What the fuck does that look like? And you know what he tells me? Surrender. He's like, I do not have social media. I do not have a website. He's like, it all came to me. Here's the masculine telling me to surrender. Cool.
You're a projector, right?
And invitation.
Just keep starting to recognize yourself for what you want to be recognized for, like in the mirror every day. Because I swear that stuff, someone will just show up and say the same exact thing to you that you've been saying to the mirror, and you're like, oh.
Okay, thanks. That's so
you
good.
Pick first. You pick, and then they reflect.
Okay. Say it again, Alyssa.
So you're a projector. So like how it's come to me is like I need to recognize myself first for what I want to be recognized for.
Yep.
And get specific for yourself.
Yep.
And recognize yourself every day, because it seems like then people come into my reality and it's like me talking to you.
Cool.
Imagine a projector, Andy. So picture what you want and then project it onto the mirror like an old school, like.
Got it.
Yeah.
Thank you for that projector. That was what was going on for me in Syrian. Like they were showing me how they see me, and now I've got to like see me as they see me, so that like this is kind of the gateway that's playing right now.
And I just want to reflect that that's a totally valid and thing to want, like that to exist in this world. There are human design people who specialize in organizing your business around the human designs of your people. There are like corporate shamans. So I just like want to reflect that that is something that is untapped, like largely untapped. It exists, but you could really do something special there.
I have been shown a lot of things where I'm just like, what the so my process over these several months is like checking in with people. I'm like, am I clean in this? And my personal, am I selling out? Like I've had to clean that up quite a bit too. What the fuck does this look like, and where do you guys want me in this?
You know how you don't sell out, Andy?
How?
Don't sell out. Just to be true to yourself. That's it.
Yeah, I get that.
You can be true to yourself and work in corporate. You'll know.
And I get to be
Ma will show you.
It's yeah, I didn't mean to share that much here today, obviously. It gets to, but in that same way, Michael, where you're like, do I just go back to like a salon? Sure as fuck we do.
But that's so easy. I mean, I gotta change my license, but I started that process. That's all I did. That's all I've done.
So I had seen an article a few weeks ago they had shaman at the Davos convention. And at first I was a little turned off, but if the shaman was Andy, I would be okay with it. So yes, you should be the one at Davos, not whoever I don't know and trust.
I hear the call is all I can say. Thank you. I know that I can be a force of good. So my own personal process, like I'm still going to do the Akashic because that's really ready to go. So yeah, I sat with that moon the other night and I'm like, how does all of this work, and how, because I thought my purpose was the mysteries, and I'm getting a different message of like, no, the mysteries is what you've done. It's where you hide. Of course you fucking know the mysteries. It's where you hide. Huh.
Was the moon chatty for everyone? Because it was very chatty with me too. And it was about Capricorn things. It was about working and valuing myself and stuff like that.
Well, and isn't it
We're all
lovely
nodding. That's crazy. Like
moving back into the world.
My daughter is a full moon in Capricorn, and she hasn't been able to sleep all week. It's been a nightmare.
Dina was having some mania earlier in the week. It didn't hit me until later, but yeah.
I had to put on these and like dance it out in my before I could fall asleep because I stood under the moonlight. And then I was like, well, that was not the way to get ready for bed.
What I also loved about this moon is like it's bringing us into the spotlight of where we're supposed to be. So Wendy's job is changing, Mac's job is changing, Michael's job is changing, Marilyn's launching something pretty big. The rest of you I may not know the details of, but like, we're being moved into position. Spotlight the fuck on us, because in order for like, it's not like this world is just going to disappear. If you guys, if these corporations want to survive, they're going to need something like me to know how to operate in a new fucking world. Cool. Let me show up there and charge you a fuck ton of money to do it. Thank you so much. Thank you so fucking much. And so Max, whenever you're saying like money is not your thing right now, thank you. My message has been very different of like, let more flow through me, so that we do have multiple places for the priestesses to fucking hang out and do.
Well, because you're both doing the same thing. It's just Max is doing. He's out on the frontier, you know.
Yep. But we don't. Thank you. I think. Don't feel like I overshared, but I feel like I took too much time, so I can apologize for that. What I want to say is, they will put us in place where we need to be, and it's right. And we don't have to go out there saying I'm a healer in order to do what we do and to affect great change and to be forces of love and to bring in a new reality. We can do it through this infrastructure, not just like waiting here for all of this to fall and then be like, what do I do now? Which I don't think any of you are, but I think there could be a perspective that's put on this. You're not participating in reality. Nope, I'm not. I am here for the new. Thank you for that, Wendy.
I also realized, I don't know if you guys get downloads like this, but like, I realized that like, I don't know if I've ever answered an opinion question honestly, like once I was cognizant of other people having a different viewpoint as me. Like even something as simple as like, what do I want to eat or something? I just like, I can't answer it because I know that I'm weird. That's where it starts. It's like, well, you know, you're weird, so you're not gonna pick what they want. So then it just becomes me trying to figure out what other people want. But now that I'm aware of it, I'm kind of like, oh, this is interesting. Like, am I going to be able to now make those choices and be honest? I don't know if that resonates with anyone, but it's just
it resonates.
Thing.
I saw a video this week that was saying the reason it's hard to be with a girl who knows what she wants is because when you ask her what she wants to eat, she says that she wants the donuts from QFC, the chicken nuggets from Chick-fil-A, the bread from the bakery. And it's not, can't just go to one place. You have to go everywhere. But she's not going to make you go anywhere. So she's just going to be like, whatever you want. And I super resonated with that.
Good. A little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of that. It'd be perfect if.
But then I sit there and I'm like, no wonder why it's taken me my whole life to figure out what I want to do. Because my whole life I've been not saying what I want.
You want. The teaching showed up around this a little bit, and I put it in the Patreon. The Akashic update was like, whatever rises up from us is ours. Anything that's coming in from out here, I usually feel pressure. I feel overwhelmed of like, somebody wants me to do this. Someone even sent me a message and they're like, what's your favorite brunch place? And I'm like, it's too much fucking pressure. Like, Jesus Christ, what kind of a question is that? Like, fucking pick a place and I'll meet you there. Do you need me to Yelp something? Like, what are you... Coming from outside feels like too much to me. So I am in this place of like, what rises up out of me? And then I'll act.
So I literally returned all codes that weren't mine. I was just like, I don't want them. Mm-mm. And I think I didn't know the other side of that. This is what I'm learning. This is what happened with Dosi and everything has taught me. It's like, it's also the other side. So that's also saying, you can't have my codes.
You may not have my codes.
You may not have my codes. But I realized I didn't do that piece.
Can we also say here with Reiki? Reiki is an interesting one because it's not a living lineage.
And where is that energy coming from? Sorry.
That's all that I'm saying.
Not prana.
The codes that get turned on, the codes that have been activated or passed down to you. I even had a chiropractor. He was the best fucking chiropractor at his job. He was the messiest human. He cocked blocked. Like, I watched him energetically, like, fuck with me. I had to fire him. Like, clear out anything he ever did to me, because that wasn't coming from a clean source. He would claim not, he was a Scorpio. Like, I mean, fucking hot Cairo Scorpio. Hey, who smelled like whiskey. Fucking Patrick. Great at his job. Loved the priestess. Loved worshiping women. But was so fucking messy. I had to cancel, delete everything that he had ever done because it wasn't from a clean source. So we're constantly engaging and receiving. And I like what you're doing, Michael, because, like, it's only the lived experience. That's the only thing that I know. What's the things that I've turned on? What are the experiences that I have? Those are the only things that I know. Those are my gnosis. Those are my fucking building blocks.
Well, and if it's outside, it's inside. So everything you need is here, right?
And when we hear somebody like Mateus, yeah, fuck, it turns on something in us. It's not me borrowing from Mateus. It's here. Oh, fuck, that's
so, and we can go to our source and get the same flavor or whatever. That's why I think we're all here, Andy, because you're not teaching us. You're just like helping us find a door inside of ourselves that we open.
I point you to doors. I don't even open them.
Yes, exactly.
Good luck with that one.
Right. So it's any codes that I've gotten in our spaces
is yours.
From right. It's ours. Exactly. And I'm realizing how beautiful of a gift that is. So thank you.
Clearly I've had some practice doing this well over lifetimes, huh? Clearly it's what I like showing up. Like, yeah.
And the Akashic has been different, more real for me.
I'm real. Say more.
Okay, so I had a conversation like a month ago with someone, and the Akashic came up, and because she was saying something about the Akashic, and she was like, "Yeah, I like pulled down a book and I opened it, and I was like, the Akashic does not look like that for me." And she was like, "You should try it." She told me. She's an Aries. So I did her human design reading, so I know where this stuff comes from. But so it was interesting. So the next time that I went in, I just sort of was like, can I call that in even? Can it actually look like a library? Like, I don't know. I mean, sometimes it used to when I was like first learning it. They were like, "Oh, that's comfortable. Cool. Here's a leather armchair. Sit down." But I've never pulled a book and had it be like a life or something. Like, that's so cinematic or something. I don't know. It just doesn't work that way for me. Like I said, like, it was interesting to see it because it presented almost like a tower, like my Earth tower or something. It was like dropping through the floor. So it was like more of a structure than I had originally, than it had been shown to me before. But like I said, it was like, it's not a real structure. It's like, it was a new way to like connect all of my journey here. It was like, I was like, oh, this is how the web ties me together.
What I was going to say as you're talking, because I don't have it as literal as a book or a library. Mine always feels a little bit like Tron, where like it's this grid that I'm kind of like, I can't move there. That must not be it. Or like I can go into a future for somebody. I'm like, that's a terrible idea. Like, don't fucking, like it feels.
I've also never opened anyone else's. And so I was thinking about it. I was like, I don't know what that would even, that idea kind of weirds me out, because my own definitely presents differently. Sometimes I'm in a spaceship and it's just like, have a seat. Something will be with you shortly. I don't know. I used to think it was like that like you physically went to like a library, like, if you have an Akashic reading, like someone goes in your library and takes a book down and reads it. Like that's what more or less awake me was like. It's become more experiential. I guess I've more opened up to that. And the fact that you're going to do an Akashic is incredibly exciting.
Yeah, no, I like this mystery school contain. I like this 3-month container. It feels right, and so we'll do that with the Akashic next, and get to start diving into that, which is. But in this place, anyone else recognizing your psychic has also expanded a fair fucking bit within the last month. Wow. Sahusi. I've been playing with that one. It's the sweetest. Turning on those senses, being able to navigate just a little differently through the psychic. I had a Scorpio client yesterday, and they were showing me like her psychic sight wasn't good, and they're like, you need to go into her Akashic and turn on the fire. And I was like, okay. So like we will get pieces from this because now we know the Sekers. And so the Seker of sight is fire. The city of sight, fire. Okay. I had no idea to do that, but you'll get different keys now if you are working on yourself or with clients where you're like, well, it feels like their Malm is a bit blah. Cool. Yeah. Why don't you see what you could do to fix that?
You said Malm, and I kept seeing, there was a couple days where I saw 3 6s and 9s a lot. And then like my brain was just in 3 6 9. And so, yeah, the Malm, there was like a connection there, right? It's almost like the Malm is your will. So it's like me. So I started to see the Trinity. So it was like the 3 is me, the 6 is coming together with is duality. It's like that 2 almost, and then the 3 becomes like the Holy Child or the Trinity and everything. But it was beautiful because it was like that the Malm woke up a little bit more with that for me, because I didn't know how to have a more healthy viewpoint of it, I guess. And then when I saw it as part of this bigger process, I was like, oh, okay, it's just a starting point.
As you say it, there's a sacred geometry in the Malm that I don't know, but as you're talking, they're showing it. Oh yeah, of course there's a Trinity in there in that triangle, right? In the 3 points. Of course, that's... Go ahead, Ashleen.
I was just trying to make a triangle with my fingers. It was not. There we go. That's a triangle.
And there's a flame there too, right, Andy? Yeah, so it's like using that flame became clear to me. Because I was like, oh, I know where to stand now to use this.
And thank you.
A little bit.
Sneak peek, or maybe you remember already, but the Malm is also the access point to your Akashic record. On the lens through which you live on that Akashic field. Thanks.
But this is so dirty, right?
That's dirty. That's fine.
That's perfect, right? Isn't that the Akka? Let's make some Akka, everyone.
Yeah, that Malm is the access point to the Akashic records. To your Akashic records. And as I play with an Akashic Mystery School, I'm like, ooh, how much do I share? Like, what? Thanks. I'm fascinated to see where it gets to go. It's going to be so much fun. As we're talking Akashic today, the Akasa is what we've been working with. When we put the H in there, the H is the rope or the breath. So it almost creates the web in a different way. The Akka is not the web. The Akka is the sticky, right? As soon as we put the Akashic in there, the rope begins to like weave and lock in.
I also have this weird down. I'm just going to drop it in since we're talking about. So the Malm is also, for whatever, it's Atlantis. And then the Ganusa is Lemuria. And then there's like, I think it might be the beginning of life is the root on the planet. So we're talking like single-celled organisms maybe, but...
Thank you. I think I don't know if I was saying it to you guys, but like it's Earth. Our entry point to Earth from any star system is going to be through that element of Earth, not just dirt. And somehow like that languaging to me, I was like, oh fuck, like this is how I landed here, is like
Yeah,
of
it's
the
like
earth.
bacteria.
Viruses, bacteria,
Yeah.
like primordial single cell exactly.
And this came in like a while ago and it made no sense, but it's like modern science, we just think of these things as our enemy, right? But I'm like, no, we were viruses first. Like we're just not learning, we don't know how to work with them.
Yep. We can learn from them. We can love them in the same way we love mushrooms and crystals, like love the viruses and bacteria. Like they're our allies, they're our friends, they're pieces
They
of
only mess you up when you're out of balance.
correct.
Don't viruses help us evolve more quickly? Like they pass
Accelerate.
the DNA. Otherwise, we'd be going real slow.
Feels like
Yeah,
that's
the fact that we have a symbiotic relationship with everything that's around us. That's why space travel never, that's why sci-fi doesn't really work. Because if we went to another planet, the biome would be,
oh God, listening
it
to
wouldn't work.
Duncan and Joe, and they were talking about so you know there's a pig that whenever it gets into the wild it completely or all pigs maybe, I don't know, but like there's a thing where they were like all pigs. Sarah, is that what you're nodding at? And he's like, what if happens to us is like when we actually get to Venus, like all of a sudden we turn into these blobby beings because that's like what our genetics do on Venus. Like we don't space travel in that way, not good. What we're learning to do is I understand myself as the elements, and therefore I can create as an element my being and body as I choose because I know the Jed. But otherwise, yeah, all of these other forces would just do to you what they want to do to you.
Controversial now, but with COVID, when I got the vaccine originally, I didn't want to get it. I cowered to pressure from school and things like that. Got it, felt like it turned me off completely. Got actual COVID, turned me back on and reset everything. And I suddenly felt connected again. And I was like, oh, I can channel again after getting actual COVID.
And look at how many variants we've had, you know, like it just keeps evolving. And I love that the collective is also evolving because of it. And as long as we stay in the joy aspect of it, like what comes next? What comes next?
Oh, but that would also mean that we're now in the heart. So that's why it's like Atlantis was here, and now we're at the heart. So that's why it's like so important for us, I think, to connect that way.
Well, and coming home to cosmic consciousness, we are all the same. We are all
Exactly.
connected. We are just elements and photons and new fucking words that are being found by science.
And be mindful of the fact that like grief and joy are also housed in the heart basket and in the lungs. So, you know, breathing into the expansion, making sure that we're taking good care of that entire ecosystem that we have is part of this journey.
I want to say thanks, but it feels like too small of a word, so I'll let you feel me instead, which is the delight, the joy, the privilege of being able to be in this with you.
Do we have a date set for closing ceremonies?
July 28th. And do we want to do a daytime or do we want to do a afternoon time? Well, I'm hearing 4 o'clock my time. Okay. So we'll kind of play with that new moon energy. 28th. Cool.
Hey, I just want to say that this has all been super intense and beautiful all at the same time, you know, the joy and the suffering. If it weren't for you guys as my part of my community, and I felt you holding me as a tribe and having that net of us all going through some of this together collectively, I would have been destroyed. But because we were building the JED, and it's been so intense, but knowing that I have you guys here that's also going through this with me, it has allowed me to continue to know that this too shall pass. And so I'm just very grateful for you all being seekers of truth and wanting to dive deeper and being unique souls that you all are. And I'm so glad that this misfit tribe was able to come together, you know, for this season. So thank you all. I love you all so much. Thank you.
It is utterly destructive to go on this path. And when we come together and have others who are like different pieces and like a little bit ahead or a little bit, but like, there's something in all of our showing up that makes it safe to be here. And all of us in a place of like, I don't know what the fuck is happening. I don't know why I have to be here, but I have to be here. The sweetness of answering the call and not being let down. Participating and living with spirit in completely different ways and new ways. Marilyn left me a message the other day. She's like, Andy, you don't cry as much as you used to. And I was like, oh, I don't. And here I am today. Like, I'll still give you some of the OG sobby ass Andy. Because what we create here together. That may never happen anywhere else or feel like anywhere else. And yet we have the keys of creation. We can tap back in anytime we want. Let your service be of joy. Let the appreciation for your service come in whatever fucking form of gold it wants. Let yourself be cherished and precious and valuable. See you guys on the 28th. Love you.